Now, here we go. Good news. Nice news story. Only took him 15 seasons, 13 of those spent as a Tottenham player, but Harry Kane is finally a trophy winner. He scored in a 2-0 victory and lifted the Bundesliga on Saturday evening, 6 days on from Bayern Munich's confirmation as champions after losing their crown to Bayer Leverkusen last season. Now, joining us for more on this is German football expert Ralf Honigstein. Ralf, a very good morning to you.
Good morning, Ralf.
It's finally happened, mate. He's finally won a trophy.
It's happened, yeah. I have to tell you that the amount of Spurs fans who were happy for Harry is unbelievable. I've had so many people getting in touch saying, when is he going to win? Is he going to win? I'm so pleased for him. And I think that is a bit of the measure of the man. You know, you leave your club and your old fans still want you to win. I think that doesn't happen very often. And in Germany itself, it was a big topic. You know, finally Harry Kane is getting over his hoodoo. And there was an extra element of news about this. I mean, Bayern winning the league usually is not that big a deal. In the last few years, they've been very dominant. But it was Thomas Müller's last home game for the club and Harry Kane lifting the trophy for the first time. And that made it very special and actually quite emotional.
I must admit, I think you're spot on, Ralf, because I watched the highlights of the game. He scored a header. Alicia got the second one, I think, in the 2-0 victory against, I think it was Mönchengladbach. But generally speaking, you mentioned the Tottenham fans there. I just think football fans around Europe, Gabby, you know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Everybody's genuinely pleased for a good guy, a top goal scorer, to finally win something. What do you think, Ralf? It's magic. It is magic.
It is nice. It doesn't happen very often. And of course, I live in an area where there's lots of Arsenal fans. They might feel slightly different. But I think it is a travesty for a guy who's so good not to have won stuff earlier. But at the same time, of course, it reflects well on him because he was at Spurs. He didn't want to leave. He could have gone to other places much earlier in pursuit of the trophies, but he was loyal to his club, and that worked against him to a certain extent. Now going to Bayern, of course, gives you at least, I'd say, a 75% chance of winning the league. So it's not a surprise, but he also got pretty close of getting to a Champions League final. Last year, they were 5 minutes away against Real Madrid. This year, they probably were unlucky against Inter, who were in the final. And they'll have another go next year. And I think also the Cup is a big target for Bayern because they haven't won it in 6 years now, which is almost a drought by Bavarian standards. So I think you're right. I think there is a sense that he deserves it, that some of the sort of wrongs in world football have been righted to a certain extent by him finally having something tangible in his hand beyond the individual awards that he's had over the years.
But Raf, I want to look at this season for Harry Kane. I mean, he's been in phenomenal form. 37 goals in 45 games, 25 in the league, 11 in the Champions League, and 12 assists in all competitions. We've always appreciated him in England, but now do the Bayern fans and the fans in Germany really understand how good of a striker he is?
Yeah, I think they already saw that last year. He's been so consistent, and he does more than score. You know, it's two players in one. He's often a number 10 who drops deep.
Yes,
and his build-up play is fantastic, and also his defensive play. Perhaps his most memorable performance came in a 0-0 draw against Leverkusen, where he didn't score, where he hardly had a touch. He was in his own box most of the time and playing like a centre-back and being so selfless and so humble. And I think that is something that people in Germany especially appreciate. I mean, we all love the flair players, we all love the scorers, but if there's someone who does all that, but at the same time puts in a shift and helps out his teammates and goes back and is the first guy to the ball when it's the defensive corner and tries to always help out the midfield, that is something that I think people didn't perhaps appreciate as much. And it makes him very popular, not just in the dressing room, but also with the fans.
Ralf, you touched on it as well. I mean, a marvellous occasion for all the Bayern fans. At the same time, probably tinged with a little bit of sadness. One of their own, one of their greats played his last game, Thomas Müller. What a servant he's been to Bayern Munich.
Yeah, 25 years he's been at Bayern.
Wow.
All in all. And of course, his rise to the first team coincided with Bayern going to another level in terms of dominance. You know, he came there in 9-10 with Louis van Gaal. That was his breakthrough season. And since then, Bayern have won 12 out of 13 championships. So that is an unbelievable record. He won 13 himself in total. And that shows that he, I think, has reached a level of importance that probably is only third to Franz Beckenbauer and Gerd Müller at this club. And this is a club that has produced Rummenigge and Hoeneß and Lahm and Robben and Ribéry. But he, I think, is now, because he's German, because he's from Bavaria, because he epitomizes everything that is Bayern Munich, and in a way has done it with a charm and with a smile and with a sense of humor. He has gone to the level of the true greats that Bayern have produced, and people are sad, but at the same time, there's a sense that this is not the end. He will come back in some capacity, and I think he'll do what Rummenigge and Hoeneß have done, and has become one of the people who run the club. You know, Bayern have made it a point since '79 to have former players in charge of the club. That makes them quite unique at this level. And I think Müller is absolutely earmarked for that role. So people feel, yes, it's an end, but it's the beginning of something else, which won't take that long.
Ralph, can I ask you just a quick one? Leverkusen probably going out, I wouldn't say like a damp squib, but they're a fizzle at the weekend, beat at home 4-2 by Dortmund. Xabi Alonso certainly looks as though the rumours are he'll head over to Real Madrid to replace Ancelotti. What's going to happen there, do you think?
It's a really good question. There's talk of Erik ten Hag, there's talk of Cesc Fabregas. I'm not sure that Leverkusen have it all quite sorted out, but they've been very good when it comes to succession planning in recent years, especially when it comes to the player side. So I'm not worried for them. But Alonso made something extraordinary happen. Not only did he sort out the team, they were in 15th position when he came in October 2 years ago, but he also changed the mentality. They were known as the team that never won, the team that bottled it, and of course they won the double and nearly won the treble. And this year was not quite as successful, but at the same time, Leverkusen are a team that everyone takes seriously now. It's going to be very, very hard to follow up that kind of charisma and presence and charm as well that Alonso eluded. He has the total package. You know, he's a former player, looks great, speaks 3 different languages, and was able to really put his stamp tactically on a team. And whoever comes in next is going to be faced with a really tall order. So I fear for Leverkusen a little bit, simply because I think what Alonso has achieved is probably not achievable for anyone else apart from him in the next couple of years.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that, Ralph. Listen, thanks for joining us this Monday morning, my friend. Have a good week.
talkSPORT Breakfast, waking you up Monday to Friday morning from 6 a.m. on AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.